He was a titan of technology, a man who could bend the digital world to his will. Yet his multi-billion-dollar empire was teetering on collapse. A single elusive bug in his flagship software was a ghost in the machine, and his army of elite engineers was powerless against it. Marcus Chen fled the chaos of his boardroom for the quiet anonymity of a restaurant, seeking peace. But through a crack in the kitchen door, he saw something that made him stop dead. A waitress in elegant black attire, her hands flying across a laptop, a screen filled with code that looked impossibly familiar. She wasn't just typing, she was performing digital surgery. The San Francisco fog clung to the panoramic windows of his corner office on the 50th floor of the Titan Systems Tower, blurring the city lights. On the massive display, lines of red text scrolled endlessly. Fatal error, memory allocation failure. The message was the epitaph for his company's most ambitious project, Phoenix, an AI-driven logistics platform poised to revolutionize global supply chains. For 3 weeks, the bug had haunted them. It was a phantom memory leak so insidious that it defied every diagnostic tool. The platform would run smoothly for hours before crashing catastrophically. His lead engineers, hand-picked prodigies with 6-figure salaries, were stumped. The pressure was immense. Their biggest client, Meridian Global, had given them a final ultimatum: fix the bug in 72 hours or lose their 9-figure contract. The news would crater Titan's stock. "Get out!" Marcus had growled at his exhausted team. Now, alone, he felt crushing helplessness he hadn't experienced since childhood. He needed to escape. He wandered through the financial district, finding himself outside an unassuming restaurant called the Silver Spoon. It was old world, with warm light spilling from windows, the antithesis of his life. Inside, the rest, Orant was hushed. A host led him to a secluded booth. He ordered a steak he wouldn't eat and scotch he would. As he nursed the drink, his gaze fell on one waitress. She was young, mid-20s, dressed in an elegant black uniform that gave her an air of sophisticated professionalism. Her dark hair was pulled back in a severe ponytail, and there was coiled energy in her posture suggesting her mind was elsewhere. Her name tag read Sophia. She moved with quiet competence, but there was fierce intelligence about her, stark against her humble surroundings. On his second scotch, he saw her slip through the kitchen doors. 10 minutes passed. 15. Curiosity piqued. He walked past the kitchen entrance. As the door swung open, he glanced inside. Amidst the chaos of steel and steam, he saw her tucked in a cramped alcove next to flour sacks, hunched over a battered laptop. Her fingers moved with speed and precision he recognized instantly, the fluid rhythm of a programmer. He squinted at her screen. It was a dark IDE filled with what looked like C++. Then he saw it, a specific function call, a multi-threading protocol eerily similar to Phoenix's code base. His breath caught. A waitress in a kitchen alcove typing code that mirrored his billion-dollar crisis. He took a deep breath and pushed into the kitchen. Heat and noise hit him. His eyes locked on Sophia. She hadn't noticed him, her focus absolute. "Excuse me," he said calmly. Sophia's head snapped up, eyes widening. She slammed the laptop shut. "You can't be back here. Is there a problem with your meal?" "The problem isn't with my meal," Marcus said, gaze dropping to the closed laptop. "It's with a recursive memory leak in a multi-threaded AI logistics platform." The effect was immediate. Her professional mask shattered. Color drained from her face. Her eyes, previously intelligent, now looked sharp and deeply wary. She didn't feign ignorance. She knew. "Who are you?" she whispered. "My name is Marcus Chen." Recognition flickered. A widening of eyes. Slight breath intake. She knew the name. "Titan Systems," she breathed. "Phoenix." It wasn't a question. A diagnosis. "You've heard of it." "I follow the public devlogs. The pre-release buzz," she admitted, clutching her laptop. "You're in trouble. The launch is next quarter." "The launch will be canceled if we don't fix a bug my entire division can't find," he said bluntly. "What were you working on?" She hesitated. "A personal project." "Don't lie, Sophia. I saw the threading protocol. It was a predictive resource allocation manager. Am I wrong?" She swallowed hard. "No, you're not wrong. I want you to look at our code. The Phoenix Code." She stared as if he'd started speaking in tongues. "What? I'm a waitress." 5 minutes ago you were a programmer. Which is the real you?" he countered. "I'll pay you. A consulting fee. Sign whatever NDA my lawyers create. Just look at it." Fear, disbelief, and longing warred in her expression. "I can't. I don't have a degree. I dropped out of Caltech after 2 years. My mother got sick. I've been working here since." Caltech. Not self-taught. Derailed by circumstance. "I don't care about your degree, Sophia. A degree says you can learn. What I saw says you can do. The Phoenix platform allocates resources for projected shipments, but somewhere in the recursive logic, it creates phantom allocations it never releases. It's bleeding memory, but we can't find the wound. Does that sound interesting?" Her expression shifted. Fear receded, replaced by the analytical look he'd seen at her keyboard. She was no longer a waitress. She was an engineer, considering a challenge. "Phantom allocations," she murmured. "It's not just recursion. Could be thread instantiation. If the parent process dies before child threads are properly joined, their memory could be orphaned." Her insight was immediate, placid, able. Marcus pulled a business card from his wallet. "Titan Systems Tower. Tomorrow, 9 a.m. Ask for me. Name your price." He placed the card on her laptop. Her hand trembled as she looked at it. 9 a.m., Sophia. Don't make me regret this." The next morning, Titan's lobby was everything the Silver Spoon wasn't, a cathedral of steel, glass, and marble. To Sophia, clutching her worn backpack, it was designed to make her feel small. She'd spent the night oscillating between excitement and terror, researching the Phoenix problem. "I'm here to see Marcus Chen," she told the receptionist. "Sophia Reeves." The man's eyebrows shot up. "Of course. 50th floor." Marcus was waiting when the elevator opened. The weary desperation was gone, replaced by command. "Sophia, glad you made it. Let's not waste time." He led her through glass offices and workspaces. Heads turned. People stared, curious about the unfamiliar woman being escorted by the CEO. They entered a conference room occupied by a dozen engineers. The air was thick with tension and stale coffee. "Everyone, this is Sophia Reeves," Marcus announced. "She's a consultant providing fresh perspective. Give her full access to Phoenix source code, server logs, everything. She reports directly to me." Heavy silence. The engineers exchanged uneasy glances. One man in particular, late 30s, sharp suit, condescending smirk, caught her attention. His nameplate read, David Morrison, lead software architect. David leaned back, tapping his pen. "A consultant. Which firm are you with, Ms. Reeves? Which university's doctoral program?" The challenge was designed to humiliate her before she'd begun. "Her credentials are my confidence, David," Marcus cut in icily. "That's all you need to know." The rebuke silenced David, but resentment burned in his eyes. Once she had access, the world fell away. Before her was the Phoenix source code. Millions of lines, a sprawling digital city. She spent hours just reading, absorbing structure, flow, logic. It was brilliant, ambitious, and deeply flawed. The team had focused on the AI core, convinced the leak originated from machine learning algorithms, but Sophia gravitated toward foundational layers, memory and process allocation, less glamorous plumbing that had received less scrutiny. By midday, she noticed a pattern. tiny discrepancies in timestamps between resource requests and allocation logs. Milliseconds of lag that shouldn't exist. She needed kernel-level log access but was denied. She found a nervous junior engineer named Kyle. "I need kernel log access for the simulation servers." Kyle paled. "Only David can authorize that. Security protocol." Sophia approached David's desk. He was on the phone, deliberately turning his back when he saw her. When he finally hung up, he swiveled with an exaggerated sigh. "Yes? I need kernel log access." He scoffed. "Absolutely not. We don't give consultants root access. Do you know the proprietary data you could compromise?" "I'm tracing a memory allocation issue. Standard logs aren't granular enough." "Listen, Miss Reeves, I have the world's best engineers who built this system. We've run every diagnostic. If there was a discrepancy, we'd have found it." It was a dead end. Frustrated, Sophia returned to her terminal. She couldn't go deeper, so she'd go wider. She began writing a diagnostic script, not a fix, but a tracer designed to monitor every thread Phoenix spawned. She worked through the evening after most of the team left. David departed with a smug look, as if her presence proved her failure. Only Marcus remained, working silently in his office. The next 48 hours blurred into sleepless marathon. Sophia lived at her terminal. Her diagnostic script, privately named Cerberus, painted a picture. The memory leak wasn't consistent. It happened in violent bursts, coinciding with high-volume, short-distance shipping routes like citywide drone deliveries. The team had focused on massive international cargo simulations. They were looking in the wrong place. The problem was in the churn. Thousands of tiny delivery routes per minute. Late on the second night, she found it. Not in the AI core's complex models, but in a single bug in low-level library code. The library handled thread management. When new delivery routes were created, it instantiated handler threads. A cleanup process was supposed to run periodically, checking for completed threads and releasing memory. But the cleanup had a timeout. If it couldn't get a lock on a handler thread within milliseconds, it would skip it. In high-churn scenarios, threads were created and destroyed so quickly that cleanup always missed them. Completed threads died, but their memory allocation was never released. Orphans. Ghosts. The fix was simple. Instead of skipping busy threads, queue them for the next pass. A 3-line change to solve a billion-dollar problem. Euphoria washed over her. She leaned back, body aching but mind electric. She'd found the ghost. She modified Cerberus to log every skipped thread, then ran high-churn simulation. The log exploded, smoking gun evidence. She saved everything to a folder named Phoenix Solution SR, her initials. It was 3:30 a.m. She'd get 2 hours sleep before presenting to Marcus. But David Morrison had been watching. Consumed by professional pride and fear, he couldn't accept this waitress succeeding where he'd failed. He'd installed a keystroke logger on her terminal, watching her every move from home. He saw her isolate the high-churn scenario, focus on thread management, find the bug. He watched her type the elegant solution. Panic gave way to dark ambition. She'd found it, but hadn't reported it yet. She was a nobody with no proof. He was the lead architect. Working feverishly, he replicated her work. Easy now that he knew where to look. He copied her fix, making tiny alterations. He wrote his own explanation, plagiarizing her logic. Then, with malicious calculation, he used administrative privileges to delete her folder and wipe access logs. At 7 a.m., as Sophia woke stiff on a wellness room sofa, David sent company-wide email. Urgent. Breakthrough Phoenix platform. Stability issue solved. Sophia walked into the 9 a.m. board meeting feeling exhausted exhilaration. She entered to celebration, David at the table's head, basking in praise. Engineers clapped his back. Marcus stood by the window, profound relief on his face. Truly remarkable detective work, David. Board member Robert Morrison was saying, "You've saved the company." David smiled magnanimously. Team effort. We drilled past application layer, re-examined foundational thread handling protocols, subtle race condition, but we caught it. Sophia froze. Thread handling protocols. Race condition. Her words, her discovery. Marcus turned to the room. David, walk us through it. With smug confidence, David projected code, his cosmetically altered version. He explained the logic with 4 hours of understanding, presenting it as his team's triumph. Sophia stood invisible, stunned. It was her breakthrough. He'd stolen everything. Excellent work, Marcus said, a punch to Sophia's gut. He turned to her. Sophia, thank you. Your input directing the team's focus was valuable. See my assistant about your consulting fee. Dismissal. He thought she'd merely helped while David delivered. That's my solution, she said, ice trembling. David laughed pityingly. Ms. Reeves, I understand wanting to be part of victory this significant, but let's not get carried away. My team worked on this. The commit logs show it. He was right. He'd covered tracks. Her folder was gone. I found it last night around 3 a.m. I wrote Cerberus to trace thread skips. We have professional diagnostic suites, David said condescendingly. We don't rely on amateur scripts. The stress is causing confusion. All eyes on Sophia. She looked like a desperate fraud trying to steal credit. She looked at Marcus, pleading. She saw relief warring with doubt. He remembered their kitchen conversation, her immediate orphaned thread theory. Let's focus on the solution, Marcus said neutrally. The important thing is it's fixed. Defeated, Sophia left the boardroom. She'd failed, not in finding the bug, but in navigating human deceit. But Marcus hadn't built an empire on blind faith. He was a systems analyst, for people as much as code. Sophia's desperate plea, her specific mention of Cerberus, the timing, it felt wrong. David's sudden breakthrough after weeks of failure was too convenient. He returned to his office and opened a secure terminal with highest system privileges. He wasn't just CEO, he was still a coder. First, he searched for files named Cerberus. Nothing. Next, the folder Phoenix Solution SR. Gone. But deleting files on high-security servers doesn't always mean they're truly gone. He initiated low-level sector scan while examining server access logs. The logs showed David accessing core library around 7 a.m. Clean. Too clean. Alexander widened his search to all administrative command logs for 12 hours. Then he found it. At 3:47 a.m., David's account had initiated RMRF command, forceful delete, on Phoenix Solution SR. Immediately after, same account cleared access log records for that directory. Digital murder key, in. David had cleared file logs, but not the higher-level command log recording the clearing itself. Supreme arrogance. The sector scan finished. The deleted folder was recoverable. Inside, Sophia's original files, beautifully commented code, detailed explanation, Cerberus log file time-stamped 3:32 a.m. Irrefutable evidence. Marcus called Robert Morrison. Get everyone back in the boardroom now. The celebration is over. When the door sealed, Marcus remained standing beside the display. The cheerful murmurs died, replaced by uncertain silence. Our celebration was premature. We found the solution, but the wrong person received credit. The real story reveals rot more dangerous than any memory leak. Electric stillness. David's smile faltered. David, you said your team identified the thread handling issue after intensive all-night work, correct? Yes, that's correct. Fascinating. Because the solution was found and documented at 3:32 a.m., not by your team, but by Sophia Reeves. The screen blazed with recovered folder contents. Sophia's pristine files, elegant code, brilliant explanation, Cerberus log time-stamped 3:17 a.m. Gasps rippled through the room. David went corpse white. "This is absurd! A fabrication! She's trying to frame me!" "Then explain this," Marcus whispered dangerously, bringing up command logs highlighted in red. "Your administrative account executed RMRF command at 3:47 a.m., digital gasoline and matches, targeting Phoenix Solution SR, then 1 minute later, cleared access logs for that directory. You were sloppy, David. You wiped fingerprints but left security video of yourself holding the rag." Absolute silence. Digital death sentence. David stared, mind refusing to process his complete ruin. "The greatest threat isn't a bug," Marcus said with founder's conviction. "It's character flaw, ego, credentialism, arrogance that steals work rather than admit brilliance comes from anywhere. Culture dismissing genius because it lacks the right title." He looked directly at David. "You're fired. Effective immediately. Security is waiting." David, utterly broken, stood and stumbled toward the door. Later, Marcus found Sophia in his office by the window, looking out at the city she'd helped save. "It's done," he said softly. He deleted everything. He tried. But good code, like truth, always leaves traces. "I found it." He stood beside her. "I'm sorry for what he did on my part. I almost believed him. That's leadership failure, my failure. I should have been more careful. No. You should be able to do brilliant work without watching for jackals. My job is building a place where you can, a job I'll do much better." He paused. "The Silver Spoon has an unexpected waitress vacancy. Coincidentally, Titan Systems has a senior software architect opening. More than that, I'm creating the Systemic Integrity Division, reporting directly to me, mandated to challenge assumptions, stress test code and processes, find flaws before the world does. It needs a leader with unique perspective. Someone seeing whole systems, not just individual lines. The position is yours, Sophia, if you want it." She stared, mind reeling. Senior architect, division head, a leap beyond wildest dreams. "I don't have a degree," she whispered. Marcus smiled genuinely. "You have something more valuable, the solution. You saw the whole system when experts were lost in weeds. That's not taught at Caltech." He extended his hand. "What do you say, Sophia Reeves? Will you help build this company's future?" A slow, brilliant smile spread across her face, erasing every trace of fear. The waitress was gone. The imposter was gone. In her place stood an architect. "Yes," she said firmly, shaking his hand. "Yes, I will.